Hello and welcome to the Unite in Light Domestic Violence Awareness Conference. This is our final week, and we're really excited to bring to you tonight our seventh speaker. Let me get this right. And we're really excited for her to share about healing. And she's going to go into the depths of many different things, and we're going to give her the floor for that. But prior to, I just wanted to bring that awareness to our forefront because I know in such a busy world and society, sometimes as tragedies happen and as weeks go by, we might forget. And so to never forget our fellow brothers and sisters, our Jewish brothers and sisters, and all of those in the world who are in the atrocities this evening and through these next coming months and time frame that we don't know when will end. We hope that you're praying for support and showing this group of people that they are loved. And as Christian brothers and sisters, we have their backs. As all of us are brothers and sisters in God, I hope that we can all come to that point and never forget again. Thank you all for letting me share that information with all of you. And so tonight, as we talk about healing with the Domestic Violence Awareness Conference, I'm going to introduce here Miss Elizabeth Rachel. So Miss Elizabeth Rachel, the floor is yours.
Okay. Thank you, April, for having me. My full name is Elizabeth Baldwin. I've been a nurse for 23 years. I can't believe that. I picked up writing again in 2015 after the death of my husband. And he spent a lot of time dealing with PTSD and other mental illnesses throughout his life, even before I met him. We had an abusive marriage, and it broke my heart, and it hurt me in ways that I wasn't even aware. And I wanted to come on tonight and share my story and shine light into dark places and tell you about my healing. I've been blogging since 2015, and my blogs, what I do with those is I help others. I want to help others with their trauma by sharing all of the struggles I have and the doubts and the fears and the triumphs. I'm also a published author, and I've written 2 books. The one that April highlighted in today's blog, The Road Less Traveled, a story of love, pain, hope, and everything in between. And a second book, The Great Journey, the story of Laura Layan, which is actually a allegory that I wrote. That was my fun one. My first one was my personal one. I just real quick, I enjoy travel, reading, time with friends and family, art and music, and movies, especially old movies. So I'm excited to share about my emotional, spiritual, and mental healing tonight that I have experienced after gaining freedom from abuse and trauma through my faith and through therapy. Like I said, I'd been a nurse for 23 years, and I'd been helping people for 23 years throughout my career get healthy, but I didn't realize how bad my own heart was hurting. So, and that I needed healing. So thank you, April, for this wonderful opportunity to share my heart. Before I get started tonight, I do want to acknowledge that we're not all in the same space. We don't all, you may not all be religious. You may not have ascribed to any particular faith. We're all from different walks of life, different faiths, different beliefs. So, but I do believe we have 2 things in common tonight. We all want to be loved, number 1, and we all want to be free of abusive cycles. So I want to empower you tonight to break free from those abusive cycles and walk in your true identity. And I want to say a couple things to you before we get started. You can be free from abuse of any kind. You can live an abundant life full of love, and you can be safe, and you can dream again. So I want to start by highlighting 3 ways you can begin to walk in freedom and the action steps that you can take to get there, okay? So if you're still in a domestic violence situation or you have recently left, this first one is going to be for you. You must acknowledge both mentally and emotionally that the actions of the abuser and the abuse is not your fault, and you're not responsible for their actions. I can tell you from experience, this takes a great deal of courage and support from a close network of trusted people. For a long time, I thought the abuse that I encountered in my marriage was my fault. I thought I had done something wrong. I no longer believe that at all. I have surrounded myself with safe people who've helped me acknowledge that that was not my fault. And those safe people also helped me plan my exit strategy. So if you don't have a safe family to plan your exit strategy with, and you're still in this situation and you're listening tonight, I encourage you to reach out to those safe friends, even if it's just one or two people, to plan your exit strategy so they can support you. Once you're in a safe place and you can actually go to therapy freely without any interruption or interference, a trusted trauma-informed therapist is a wonderful idea. I've had two, and they have been great. I'm still actually seeing one. They do not have to be faith-based at all if you're not comfortable with that. Thank you, Andrea. I appreciate that. They can help you begin to understand who you are, what you're responsible for, what you're not responsible for. A lot of this is what people call boundary work, and I cannot emphasize it enough, because in an abusive situation, a lot of times your boundaries have been kind of slowly knocked down, slowly torn down, so that abuser can do what they want. And I will put in a plug for EMDR, which is eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. I want to give April a chance to translate that there. That is a very neat therapy that they do if you have not tried it and you need it, where they help you work through negative thoughts, things you have been taught, things you've believed, and they replace them with positive thoughts. And it's been very helpful to me. I cannot overemphasize boundary work enough. Please do the boundary work. Please figure out who you are. Journal, talk to your therapist, read recommended books, even if they're uncomfortable. Ask questions. Let people that you trust ask you questions. This is some of the most important work that you're going to do. And then give yourself permission to find out who you are again and what you want in your future relationships. Okay? Because a lot of your permission and a lot of who you are has been taken from you in the place that you've either been in or you are. So give yourself permission to figure out who you are again. I also would encourage you to let go of the need to control other people's perceptions of your life and your decisions, including your decision to leave your abuser. I will have to admit that people's opinions and me trying to control them caused me a lot of angst for many years. I thought I had to control those things in people, and I realize now that I don't. I can remember not making right decisions because I was so worried about what they thought. As you are breaking free of trying to control other people's perceptions and trying to control what they think, and you're doing your healing work, I would also advise you stay off social media. Don't talk a lot about what you're doing on social media. Social media is not always the safest place, number one. And number two, those people are they're at a distance from you and they don't really know you. And sometimes they don't really care about you. And I like to call them the keyboard warriors, or sometimes the keyboard cowards, based on what they're willing to say from behind a screen. So stay off social media, do your healing in private with your safe people.
Can I just pop in on that? That is something super important, because we feel, I would say we're almost trained now to post, show. Why?
Mm-hmm.
You're airing things that are very personal, and you're in a healing process. I kind of think of it like way a while ago when you were in the medical field. The surgery theaters right?
Mhm.
Well, let's watch this guy. Ah, whoops, I made a mistake. And you got this whole audience there.
Mhm.
It's very similar, right? You might not
Yes.
be physically being cut into as a surgery and everyone watching and giving opinions. Oh, well, that scalpel was dirty. Oh, whatever.
Yeah.
Just be safe. I mean, put your posts on your cats up there if you got to do something, but
Yeah.
not this work. Not this work.
Yeah.
All right.
And
Go ahead.
words, whether they're written or they're spoken, April, you touched on something. Whether they're written or they're spoken, they can be harmful. So that's why I say stay off social media, stick to your safe people. Some of you may have to find new friends, and that's okay because those friends are not giving you good advice. Some of you may have family that doesn't understand, and I know that can be very hard. I was fortunate enough to have family that did understand, but I know that is not the case for everybody. So if you don't have family that understands, find you those safe friends that do. Give yourself permission to grieve the loss of any relationship, any person that expects you to stay with an abuser and endure that kind of treatment or evil. Okay? Grieve those relationships and let them go. Let them go. And then give yourself permission to get upset, to get angry sometimes about what went on and how you felt and what was done. It's okay. That's what the therapy will help you process that anger. We have to process our anger. Don't stay there, but it is okay to get angry about things. And then last, on this particular set of points, I do want to tell you, once you are in a safe place and around safe people, tell your story, because your story is not only what's going to set you free, but it can actually help set other people free. And once we expose darkness to light, it can't hide and it can't overcome that light either. For example, my story is actually twofold. I loved my husband very, very much. I really wish he was still here. I wish he had gotten help. But there were serious problems in that marriage and I couldn't stay in it. And it was hurting me and it was slowly killing me on the inside. And then on the flip side of that, my husband was also in pain. He suffered abuse probably from the time he was 4 or 5 and most likely developed mental illness as an early teen. He was trying his best to be loved and to love in this world. And I understand that. He had struggled most of his life up into his death. I want to make it clear I'm not making an excuse for his behavior, but I want you to understand what precipitated it and where it came from. And at the same time, I'm also telling you I wasn't responsible for his choices at all, but I still loved him. Okay. And I want to say this to anyone that's listening that's in an abusive situation. I want to reiterate this, or if you came out of one, you are not responsible for an abuser emotionally, mentally, physically, financially, or spiritually. You're not. You are not responsible for them. They are going to have to at some point take responsibility for themselves. And you do not have to fight to keep or fight for a person that treats you terribly and is evil to you. You do not have to fight for that marriage where that's going on and that person will not stop being evil to you. Abuse is identity theft at its core. It takes everything from you, including who you are. And I'm telling everybody tonight, you do not have to put up with identity theft. And bottom line, if anything I say tonight can save one person, I don't want anybody to go through what I went through. And those of you that have gone through the same thing, I want you to heal. So at this point, I know some of you may feel like you're overwhelmed by those things. Oh my gosh, how do I get started? You may have no idea where to even start your healing. Or imagine what that would look like, because I sure didn't 9 years ago when I started on this journey. And so I want to take you through some action steps that can start your healing. And these are tangible things you can do. whether it be in therapy, with trusted friends, or on your own. Okay, I'm going to dive in here. One of the first and hardest things that I had to do was acknowledge codependence. I was codependent a long time, didn't realize I was codependent, and didn't want to realize I was codependent. So what I had to do is figure out what that looked like. Because an abuser is actually looking for a codependent person, someone that will take responsibility for them. So for me, codependency was the need to please everyone and make them happy, conform to their standards, their likes, and their dislikes. That was what I did for probably 25 years. And I was in denial about this for a very long time. I actually had a friend recommend Codependent No More to me probably more than 10 years ago. And I refused because I was like, what is wrong with you? I am not codependent. And she could not have been more right. Stana, if you're listening, you were right. So kind of look at what that codependency looks like for you. Do you need to make everybody happy, feel loved? Do you feel the need to fix everything and everybody? Do you feel responsible for everyone and everything? Do you feel the need to be needed all the time? Now, we all need to feel like we're needed on a general level. But so I do want to say that about that. But when you feel an excessive need to be needed, there can be a problem. On those 4 questions I just asked, just as examples, I answered yes to 3 of those 4. Yes, I had to make everybody happy. Yes, I had to fix everything. And yes, I had to be responsible for everything. And that's exhausting. And I do want to say letting go of codependency is going to be very, very hard. It was very, very hard. It's taken me a long time to acknowledge it. And I just acknowledged it this year, guys. So letting go is hard. It took community for me to let go. And when I say community, I mean trusted friends, mentors, a trauma-informed therapist, these people that surrounded me that I've talked about before, those trusted individuals that can look from outside the situation in and can say things to me that were both truth and loving and make a difference in my life. And these are the people you want around you to heal. Another thing I do is I journal. I've journaled since 2015 and I've blogged since 2015. And that has helped me work out my thoughts, ask myself questions, process my emotions. Writing has just been, I'm so glad I picked it back up. It's been a saving grace in my life. Other things I've done in order to help me release myself from codependency is, for me, prayer with my faith, meditation, exercise, taking a walk, painting. I love art and I love to paint, listening to music. All of these things that are relaxing. And it doesn't even have to be religious or spiritual for you. As long as it's helping you clear your mind and helping you think through what you need to process, you're doing good. So now I'm going to move from codependency, and we're going to talk about that issue again with controlling what people think and being worried about what they think, because these go hand in hand. Because when you're codependent, you worry about what people think. So I had to learn to let go of controlling not only what other people think, but me worrying about what they think. I'm just going to tell you what they think is really none of my business, and it's not adding to my freedom and my purpose. And worrying about what people think honestly keeps you preoccupied with what ifs. What if this? What if that? What if you'll drive yourself nuts with the what ifs? Someone else cannot live your life. Only you can live your life. And you know what is best for you, not the person over here to your left, not the person over here to your right. And letting go of what people think takes community. Again, people that will tell you, hey, Elizabeth, hey, whoever, why are you worried about what they think? They're not making this, they don't have to make this decision. They don't have to pay your bills. They're not you. So it was really good for me to have people around me like that and learn.
So I think that's really interesting. I'm sorry to interrupt, but it's
fine.
so interesting that you need community to help you stop thinking about the other community that you're so worried about.
Yeah. No,
It's
I mean,
so interesting.
because it's a difference. They hold different, if you will, space. They hold different like philosophies. And one philosophy is going to build us up and bring us life and set us free. And the other philosophy is going to bind us up. Okay. So it depends on what community you hang out with, whether you're getting free or you're getting bound up. That is one thing I have learned. And that was actually not in my notes. So that's a freebie. If people know that you care what they think, they can manipulate you. So keep those trusted friends close and keep that trauma-informed therapist that can help you also pick out subtle manipulation. I actually had a person try to do this to me over the weekend. It was very subtle, but because I have done the boundary work and I've done a lot of this releasing of codependency and those kind of things over these many years, I recognize subtle manipulation when I read it. This was actually in a text. So I recognized it when I read it, and I was able to just, respond to that appropriately and move on with my life. So I have actually been practicing saying no since my husband passed away, and it has gotten easier and easier and easier. And saying no is one of the cardinal things that you have to do when you quit worrying about what people think. I look at it this way, and this is also not in my notes. This is a freebie. If it's not paying your bills, and I actually borrowed this from, I have to admit, I borrowed this from another speaker, and she's wonderful, and I know her. Her name's Heather Elizabeth. She said, if it's not taking care of you or your children, and it's not paying your bills, it's okay to say no to it. So that has really helped me over this time of healing. And I want to leave you with kind of a question before I move on to some of my last points. Have you ever thought about the fact that trying to get everyone to like you, how exhausting that is? Because I'm going to tell you right now, this woman was exhausted. I was exhausted worrying about what this person and this person and this friend and that friend thought. It was exhausting. I would sometimes lose sleep over what people thought, and it's just not worth it. And it doesn't help you. And it doesn't help you make good decisions. And one of the most important things I want to cover tonight is that I have learned to affirm my true identity. And my true identity is not in what others assign to me and not in what others think. My true identity is the person I was created to be by God. And so we have all these places where people try to assign us identity. It can be the church, society, parents, spouses, friends, our workplace, social media, popular culture. All of these things try to assign us identity and actually expect us to live up to that identity if we're not careful. Those of you that have been through abuse, abusers in particular will assign you identities such as worthless, no good, only good for, and you can fill in the blank. I'm sure you've heard some horrific things. Fat, ugly, dumb, you name it. If they can identify you with it and use it against you to control you, they will. But I want to tell you tonight that those are lies. Any of those things that have been spoken over you, they're lies. What we're actually doing when we accept their lies is we are accepting something that they are actually transferring onto us from themselves. Okay. They're transferring onto us their self-hatred when they do that. They actually don't love themselves, and they don't want you to love yourself either. Okay. So that's what they're doing. They're transferring their self-hatred when they give you those labels. Codependency has also given me, it gave me identities that were not mine to have. Codependency told me I was a fixer. I had to be the responsible one. I had to be the dutiful one. I had to be the perfect one. I had to be the good girl. I had to be this. I had to be that. All those things, they were drowning me. They were impossible standards, and I couldn't live up to them. But I will tell you, abusers value people who think these things about themselves, and they will use them against you. In these last 9 years, I've had to learn all over again to love myself. To love myself, to know that I'm lovable, beautiful, valuable, good enough, and smart. I had to learn that all over again. And I have gotten to the point where that is actually what I believe about myself now. And nobody can take that from me. Identity work, again, takes community. People who will see the real you and speak to that. Not this you over here that somebody else is trying to manipulate you into being. They will see the real you and they will speak into that. And so the only identity that matters to me now, everyone, is my given identity. And I don't fit into any boxes, and I don't intend to. And I don't have to fit into any boxes. So I'm going to tell you who I am. I'm Elizabeth. I'm a writer. I'm a painter. I'm a reader. I'm a fierce friend. I'm a speaker. I'm a cat mom. I'm a traveler. I'm an aunt. I'm an RN. I'm an advocate. And yes, I'm bossy. I'm talkative, and I'm type A. And I love me. And I'm not responsible for who chooses not to like me or love me. I don't have to be understood or liked by everybody. And I'm not for everyone. And I'm okay with that now for the first time in my life. I am exactly who I'm created to be. And so how you're probably wondering, well, how did you get here? Therapy, lots of prayer, a lot of journaling and blogging and asking myself questions and letting people ask me tough questions, reading uncomfortable books that I honestly hated. And it was hard for me to read, but they spoke to what was going on inside of me. Letting trusted friends and family say, hey, what are you doing? I love you. This isn't cool for you. Learning to say no over and over and over again when it was necessary. And then I do want to hit on self-care. Self-care is very important. No matter what that looks like to you, whether that's taking a walk, whether that's art, whether that's music, whether that's massage therapy, whether that's the salon, getting your hair done, whatever that is for you, that self-care is going to be integral in helping you learn to love you again and understand who you are. And I want to touch once more on one last thing, April, before I close. You probably have noticed I keep circling back to community, and we have talked about that a lot tonight. And I have done that because I want to tell you, without those safe friends, those trauma-informed therapists, the mentors I've had, the pastors that have loved me in my faith, my prayers, my honest conversations with people that cared about me, the art I've done, books that I've read, the writing that I've done, I would not be where I am today without that community and those tools in that community. So I am walking in mental, emotional, spiritual healing today because of community. You cannot heal by yourself. Okay. You can't do it. We were not meant to be by ourselves. We were meant to be in community, and we need each other. So if you remember nothing else from tonight, stay in community. Thank you. so much.
Thank you, Elizabeth. This healing opportunity for so many people, I think it was a fantastic perspective on you need a community to help you not care about the community.
Yes,
So there's
yes, the
just
other community.
so yeah, it's a support, and I love what you said. We're not built to do it by ourselves, and that is a huge lie. Where once we maybe get out, and the adversary, the devil, the other side, your bad angel, whatever you want to call it, shame shadow, that negativity is going to be like, oh, you have to do this by yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whatever, whether it's spoken from somebody else or those thoughts that just keep rattling around, we need one another to help one another. We are built that way. So reach out, find that community that gives you that support. Don't race to another community because you're afraid, because then they will see that fear and take advantage again. So
Yes,
it
absolutely.
takes time. It takes time, and we are here and we've experienced the ups and the downs of things. But remember, if your up and down still has an upward trajectory, then you're on the right
Yes,
path. If you're up and
yes.
down and you're like, where'd she go? Not a good place. Not a good place. So, you just have to kind of feel that understanding. And yeah, the labeling, I think this is great what Kathy says. She says, it can be tricky when they try to identify you. And that's not the
Mhm.
point.
That's a good
They
point,
can
Kathy.
definitely, ask the hard questions. And
Mhm,
that's why within the journal, within faith, within good
mhm.
therapy,
Yeah,
you can
and
peel some of those right off.
yeah, let me address that. I want to address that from Kathy, because here's how you figure out when people are safe or not safe. If they try to put expectation on you, if they try to identify you in any other way other than your God-given identity, they try to manipulate you, and they're within your community, they're not safe. And you need, because I have had to let go of friendships over this 9 years. They were not safe friendships. I had to let go of one actually not too long ago, because that person was attempting to manipulate me, and I'm not doing that anymore. I let those people go, and I pray for them and I wish them well, but they are not going to be in my core anymore. My late husband actually used this term. He says, some people are in the front row for a season in your life, and then it's time to either put them in the balcony or out of the building. So I would encourage you to always be not frightened, not scared, but pay attention to the people that are around you and make sure they're safe people.
Beautifully said. Beautifully said. Thank you, Kathy and Abby and Andrea and all of those who participated.
Thank you.
It's been a wonderful opportunity to find that healing, and we hope that this has been beneficial for you. And that is what the Unite in Light Domestic Violence Awareness Conference was created for. So the opportunity to listen, to gain insight and perspective. Now you can go on and take action. Please contact Elizabeth. Her
Yes.
email is scrolling there underneath, and you will be able to contact her and ask questions, and she can be a good guide and a director. This concept of really putting people together within safe communities and remaining that in that safe way is important. Not everything will be perfectly safe, and like you said just recently, you still had to let things go because the cleanup of people, and and I love what you said. You wish them well, you pray for them, you're not like blah, and then
Yeah.
hop on the social media. Can you believe
No.
what
No.
is it benefiting? No, it actually shows your immaturity. So we're trying to heal and get mature and
Yeah.
find that wisdom. So, you know, be beyond, can I
Mhm.
say this? Be beyond the Kardashians? Sorry. I mean, I'm going to offend anybody. But you know what I'm saying with that?
Well,
Be
and
beyond this idea. Like
once you
there's so much
heal,
more.
yeah, once you heal, what you tolerate and what you won't tolerate are going to be vastly different. Because
Exactly.
I can tell you right now what I tolerate and what I don't tolerate they are vastly different than what they were 10 years ago, 15 years ago.
Right. And that shows growth and that shows progress. So when somebody meets you and says, wow, you've never changed a bit, great reflective question. Like, whoa, I need to have some changing happening.
That's a problem. Yeah.
Right.
Definitely.
So, I mean, if it's your bubbly personality, okay, we'll take that. But you know what I'm trying to emphasize with that. So we should be, we really are changing because your life today was different than yesterday.
Mhm.
Now, the activities might be very similar, but you gained wisdom from yesterday.
Oh, yes.
And with that wisdom from yesterday, are you putting that within the good community, within yourself, within your identity? Or are you chasing after something that's just a wisp? So, yeah, there's many things. So again, thank you everyone for being a part of this. Thank you, Kathy. Thank you. We have Facebook user, it says. Thank you, everybody.
And I want to do one final shout out. I had a friend that helped me put these points together. His name was Prince. So Prince, if you are still listening, thank you so much for helping me put this together. I appreciate it very much.
Wonderful. Great shout out there. Thank you, everybody. And I hope that you return on Thursday. It will be my turn to share some of my healing and the things that I've learned. And so I'm excited to have that opportunity. And I have a good friend, John Hewlin, who will be doing some of the interviewing and asking some questions if I get the right questions to him very soon. I mean, it's just Thursday, so wow. But come back, and we are so appreciated for this 4th annual Unite in Light Domestic Violence Awareness Conference. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Elizabeth. Don't forget to contact her. Go ahead and grab her book, The Road Less Traveled By. It is on Amazon. And do you have any other place where it's at that you want to make a shout out?
It's actually on The Road Less Traveled, a story of love, pain, hope, and everything in between. So it does have the subtitle. It's under the name Elizabeth Billingsley, which I left that as my writing name because that's how I started writing. And you can find it not only on Amazon, it's also on Audible and iBooks as well. So
great. Thank you for that. Thank you, everyone, for being a part of tonight's podcast and the Unite in Light Domestic Violence Awareness Conference. We'll see you all Thursday.
Thank
Bye,
you.
y'all.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.